Hello everyone, how are you? Good. Today I'm going to talk about garages, even though it says houses, garages, and trailers. I wanted to sort of make garages by itself didn't really sound so good. So I'm doing houses, garages, and trailers, but it really is about something bigger, and I'm showing two images of the other two to help spark some table talks. Starting with a quote by Robert Irwin, that seeing, true seeing, if you will, is forgetting the name of the thing one sees. And so with that, if you have a house, a garage, and a trailer, can you see a house as a band shell? Can you see a garage as an artwork? Can you see a trailer as a museum? And as I said, we're going to focus on garages. But here, this one image is a house that we're working on. It's turning it into a band shell for amphitheater seating. Here is a museum that we did for the Institute of Black Culture that goes from Detroit Public School to Detroit Public School on African American history, because the funding is too slow to have kids go to the museum, so let's bring a museum for them. But one way to begin to see how to change your perception, especially us adults, is by working with youth. These are two kids that we worked with on the project. So with that, we're going to talk about TAP, the Alley Project. These are all our partners on the left. It's located in southwest Detroit. As you see, lots of single-family homes. Detroit's 85% single-family homes. When you look at the back alley, it's an alley, as it's called the Alley Project. It runs through 2 blocks. The alley looks like any alley that you would expect in an area that's disinvested with people that are disenfranchised. There's barricades. And it looks like, okay, how is that really the project? And yes, it is. If you just turn 90 degrees and look at the garages, you see this. The garages, all the garages are painted really quite beautifully. That circle I'll show you in a second is some tagging and mapping that we did as part of a workshop with the youth. But this is when people see aerosol art, they don't see this, they see this. And so, the difference between aerosol art on the right and gang graffiti on the left. And that is what's happening in the area, is it's high gang activity. So to give a 2-second history, the gang activity was escalating and escalating. So the young adults in the area started 2 organizations, Expressions and Young Nation. Expressions helps kids build lowriders, and Young Nation helps kids with graffiti art. And making graffiti art, making lowriders. So we worked with them, and they came to us and said, okay, now we're doing this in this alley, but it still looks like an alley. Can you help us invent what that place can be? So with the youth, and that's one of the lowriders, there on the left, we modeled, I love this phrase, sun-kissed alley here. We covered a garage door because we are architects and urban designers, so we wanted to create a map, but we figured instead of doing it on a table, we covered garage door with a giant map of the area and started mapping it. But unfortunately, as you can see, it rained, so it got all wrinkled, but that's fine. We were all still out there doing it. And then we tagged and mapped activities in the area. So we created all these taggings that were there, and then we started moving around. We marked things that were happening. And I said things, but I really want to make sure we heard. What we activated was verbs. We said lighting, we need to create lighting for safety and so on. Because we truly believe that verbs, as designers, as people, we do verbs as bodies, we move. And so we have to be thinking of the verbs of design, not the nouns of design. An example would be, so if I asked everyone in this room to think of a stair, the stair, everyone's would be different, but it would still be a stair. But if I asked you to think about ascending and descending, suddenly the options grow and change. So the verbs that came through were this place simultaneously makes, views, and displays art. Simultaneously. I'm not here to explain the plan, but you can sort of see the gray line that goes through. I'm going to quickly just show a couple images of the garage and the lot. When you're essentially working on the ground plane alone, you can't go up. So how do you begin to think about the side planes becoming the ground plane is what we ended up thinking about. Painting the ground and painting the garages. The garages are still the canvas. In the youth's mind, they wanted a canvas. And so can we create a series of components from bike racks and lighting that can change and move from garage to garage, but then continue down the garage and then have quotes that run up the street. Quoted from them. And then in the lot, we're creating graffiti panels where actually youth can learn before they go to the garage. And we essentially have lots of these things. We have lots of old wood in Detroit, and we have lots of old cars. So the design essentially does this. It creates these graffiti panels, and I didn't say this is a very rough project. We've just been working on this for 3 months. So you're seeing it in process. What you see in the sort of the light greenish color are car parts. And we're creating, if you will, a river wall of car parts. We're literally going to create a mosaic of the car parts. And so the upside down are from small rear side view mirrors to doors and hoods and so on. And that becomes the canvas. For the real beginners, we do have perfectly flat areas that basically we need some flat and we want some texture. At the end, we essentially came up with these three words came from the youth, that we're here to transform, engage, and acknowledge. And ultimately, one of the, Caesar's word was to cultivate people and place. And with that, I say thank you very much.